readers, and welcome to Breaktime. Today's proverb is 20 verse 21, which says, an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Now, this always reminds me when I read passages like this that inheritance were a big deal in the Old Testament. They still are today. And claiming it too soon or asking it for too soon will end in disaster. And so we see this very clearly portrayed for us in the New Testament with the prodigal son. You know, we had the story of the one who stayed home and then the one who asked for his inheritance, and off he went. Before his parents had passed away, he received his inheritance. And what a disaster. The question behind asking for an inheritance before it is due is the why. And most of the time it's because of greed or some sort of financial dysfunction has entered in, and we get desperate, and so we ask for something that's not due to us just to get out of a situation that we are in. And so this is what the prodigal son did. As a matter of fact, he really just wanted to party. And so off he went into party land and had a great time doing it for a while until it was all spent. Most of the time we can't handle the inheritance until it is actually due to us. That's the way God had created it to happen. And so that's why I believe it ends in disaster, because we take things that God had said no, and yet we take them anyway, making God's no our yes, and off we go. And it always ends in disaster when we do that. And so, and off he went, as we know the story goes, and he ends up in a pig pen eating the slop that has been thrown to pigs. And it was at that place that he realized his inheritance was gone. He had reached the lowest place that he could possibly go. And so what was natural for him to do? Go back home. Go back to his father. Go back to the one who had given him the inheritance and plead for what? Mercy and grace. Isn't that a beautiful story? So if you're somebody who has taken inheritance, taken something that was God's intent to begin with, but taken it too soon, and you ended up in a disastrous place, there's always a place to go home. There's always mercy and grace. It's when our heart becomes filled to the place that we know we've done something apart from God. And I believe this is what it's telling us. When we do things apart from God, it will end in disaster for us. So it's time to go home for some of us. It's time to hear the voice of the Father and say, return back to me. And you know, the awesome thing is he's always there waiting for us to come back in the areas that we have gone before him. So if this speaks to you, my challenge for us today is go back home.